Hello, class here, Hitogata Happa, except I'm not actually going to be playing. So what I want to do with this video as my 500th is kind of talk about myself, but actually talking about myself would be kind of boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this game playing, just a replay in the background. I'm going to tell you enough about the game to understand what's going on as the first stage plays. And then I'm gonna share my favorite pieces of life advice rather than just telling you about myself. So this is a scrolling shooter, Danmaku shooter, curtain fire, whatever. I don't care what you call this genre, it's that genre. The main gimmick is that flow meter up in the top right. Once that fills up, your bomb is ready, and you can crash into an enemy to explode. Normally you wouldn't do it to normal enemies, but on the easy difficulty, you have an unlimited number of dolls on stage 1. Or stage 0, it's actually numbered. On other difficulties, you get 5 to start. That gets you bonus points and stuff, so I do it a lot on stage 0. The mana meter is, of course, used for your spell. Leaf's spell is to both slow time and cause her flow meter to fill extra fast. Another thing that fills flow besides just time is getting close to enemy bullets. Speaking of getting close to things though, those circles around enemies come in 2 colors. One, if you get in it, it'll stay set. The other, if you get in it, you have to stay there. And what those do is they'll slow enemy bullets within them, and if the enemy dies, then any bullets in there get turned into gems. So you want to do that to maximize your score and stuff. Between levels, there's a shop where you can buy additional dolls. So after this first level, I'm going to have a ton more lives over on the right, except you can't really have more than infinity. Anyway, the reason the bomb mechanic is important is because boss fights are timed, and most of the dolls in the game will not kill the bosses in time. So, you have to deal massive damage with your explosion game mechanic. Some of the more expensive dolls will kill enemies in time. If you run out of time, the boss goes totally berserk and starts throwing bullets everywhere, and if you get hit once, you game over no matter how many lives you have remaining. Even on this first level where you have infinite lives. So you can't game over here on easy, which is kind of silly. I think I've even done it before. So, yeah, and before you could bomb the main body on this thing, you have to destroy the 2 arms. And while the arms are attacking, if you run into them, even if you have a bomb ready, it hits you and you don't get to explode. So, yeah, that's the game. And unfortunately, my notes are behind the game window. What was the first thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah. First, very important, take care of yourself. If you only follow one piece of advice ever, I mean, that's gotta be it. The big ones that a lot of people miss are, of course, sleep and water, I would say. It's like skipping sleep to get more done is like the biggest scam in all of humanity. Like, seriously. If you're not sleeping enough, you'll be less motivated, so you'll procrastinate more, and then you get less done. Plus, even while you are like trying to get things done, your focus is gone, and everything's just slower. And I mean, sleep makes you happy. It's amazing. Do it. And I mean, water, that's just an easy one to miss. Everybody remembers to eat food. I recommend eating food if you're hungry. I mean, it's not like you're gonna forget. Unless you get really into a game like this. I mean, this exciting missile launching action. I think I do show all the dolls in this run. But I wasn't gonna talk about the game. Let's see. So, yes. Next point was... Oh, yeah. Next point. I wanted to emphasize that you cannot do everything. I mean, that sounds like an obvious statement, but, like, I imagine people are familiar with the experience of having, like, people recommend you things, and you've probably seen at least one review that calls a game a must-play game of the year, or of whatever, And there are a lot of things that people, whether advertisers, friends, or whatever, your workplace, will tell you you have to do. But you don't have to do all of them. You should probably do whatever your workplace tells you you have to do. But, there are a lot of good games out there. There are a lot of good books to read, a lot of good movies, a lot of good pretty much any way you could entertain yourself. There's enough of it that you don't need all of them. I promise you this. That's a realization that I actually had when I believe the first Zelda on the DS came out. I think it was it Phantom Hourglass? I had been pretty loyal to the Zelda series. Link to the Past, it's still among my favorite games. Played through Zelda 64, I played through Majora's Mask. I forget if Wind Waker came first, but I have played through Wind Waker. I hadn't finished it by then, but yeah. And when one came on the DS, I realized I had enough to do. I just couldn't care because I was already playing great games. So, yeah, I guess not only will it help you preserve your time and actually finish things, it also helps preserve your money a little, because you don't go buying extra things to do because you realize you have enough to do. Also, if you try to keep up with all that stuff, you'll kind of like partially succeed, but you might find that you're not doing some of the things that you'd really like to do. Like, I don't know, maybe there's a skill you want to learn that you're just not getting around to because you're watching Let's Plays, and movies and reading books, and you're doing entertaining and great things, but why did it freeze? Okay, we're good. We're moving forward. Yeah. My point kind of just petered out, but I think you get where I'm going with it. Oh, charge up attacks. And, I will briefly mention that the spell on this doll is to self-destruct, and if your bomb is ready, it triggers your bomb, even if you aren't touching an enemy. So, I find it slightly easier to bomb it with that doll on this boss, because the bullets are like all clustered around the hit location. So I actually should have prepared more points. I only wrote down 4, and obviously I'm mentioning that my list isn't even visible. But I think I should move on to the next one. And I think there are too many stages left in this game, so I'll figure out things to talk about, hopefully. Cheating. Ah, yes. I did want to mention about doing everything that I have 33 games in a category on Steam that I call interested. I should probably stop buying games at some point. But anyway, the next one is another thing I consider important. I call it the nothing stopping you principle. It's one that Bertrand taught me with one of his videos. One about LPing, that it was a co-op with Tarquin, I believe. And he mentioned that when he started LPing, it was because he had this realization that people that did LPs were normal people, and he could do that too. And actually, that's what convinced me to start. I think I've mentioned that before, but it later grew into realizing that normal people do everything. I mean, there aren't like superheroes running around that are like the ones that make, I don't know, indie games. And so if you want to do something, sometimes the thing to do is to do it once you've freed up your time, of course. It kind of combines with the second point. Like, people are pretty great at filling up their days. And yes. So, I don't know. If there's something you want to do, or a skill you want to learn, usually you just have to commit to doing it. Like, that's what it takes. Let's see. Alright, and then after that one, I had something I called... no, I didn't call it that. My old Scoutmaster called it that. By the way, this doll, instead of having a proper spell on the magic button, you can alternate left and right really fast, and you do this roll move that makes you invincible. It costs mana, though. Anyway, my Scoutmaster called this the 10-80-10 rule. And it states that no matter what you do, 10% of the people you meet will like you, 80% of the people you meet will not care about you, and 10% of the people you meet will not like you. And to be clear, that doesn't mean that 10% of the people you meet will like you no matter what you do, because depending on what you do, the people that like you will be different people. By the way, on this doll, you have to hold down the attack button for them to go all the way out and explode. If you rapidly tap the button, your exploding fists will just move a short distance and not deal nearly as much damage. But anyway, because of that rule, rather than worrying about whether people will like you or not, or trying to be a certain person to fit in with a certain crowd, you can just trust that there will be people that like you. Like, I mean, yes. So now I'm out of points to say, but I don't think this... I think this game has 2 more stages in it. No, it has 3 more stages in it. I am bad at preparing. So, obviously you should be prepared. That's a good thing to do. Yeah, the sword doll, it's pretty great. Oh, I guess I could talk about the game more. Let's talk about the game. I said important things. Yeah, this game has more modes than just the normal mode, which, by the way, this is an easy playthrough, and so all the doll prices are halved, plus there's like less going on in general. But in addition to this, there's a solo voyage mode, where you only play as one doll the whole game. Instead of having a shop between levels, you just get lives immediately when you have enough gems that you could buy one if the shop was present. And yeah, so even on the first stage, you aren't Leaf. It also has a mode called Destiny 13, which I've never beaten, where you get one of each doll. There's actually a special doll that randomly comes up when you're picking Leaf. I think you also have to, yeah, you have to have died as Leaf and picked Leaf as your next doll. And I think that one's called like Sphere 64 or something. Yeah, you get one of that in Destiny 13 as well. Yeah, and you can't get extra dolls in that mode, ever. Okay, just a couple more shots. I like that when it says enemy shield shattered. Yeah, different dolls have different explosion sizes. Leaf is the best at exploding and the weakest main attack. So they really make sure that you have to explode against the very first boss of the game. Yeah. Also, a reason that I wanted to go off of replay is there was no way I could remember like anything as I was actually playing this game. Because it takes a bit of concentration to play shooters like this. Yeah. I guess one kind of surprising thing about starting LPing that I'd like to talk about is how many technical difficulties you might experience. I don't know if I've talked about these before, but like when I first started, I was using this free recording software called Cam Studio, and it recorded the audio every it recorded the video every 333 milliseconds, because you could only set the milliseconds, but I was trying to set it for 30 FPS. And so the video and the audio would be desynced when it played back at 30 FPS. So I had to like extract the audio and stretch it out, I think, and then put it back on, and it was kind of ridiculous. And yeah. And then I also found out that Cam Studio had like a kind of 15-minute-ish limit. It was based on the actual video file size, and it wouldn't like warn you. It would just crash when you closed, or when you tried to save the video. So that was a thing. Oh, this is one of the like extremely powerful dolls that's being used right now. Also, I think it has 2 different attacks depending on whether you repeatedly tap the button or you hold the button. Yeah, the 4 dolls at the bottom of the list need unlocked by beating the game, and the clears have to be distinct from each other. So like if you beat it on easy, then you might have to go like to a solo voyage on easy, and then you beat like a different solo voyage. You can't just beat like easy mode, easy mode, easy mode, easy mode. But I mean, you can still do it without leaving easy mode because of the different solo voyages. Yeah, this doll's spell freezes time when it's hitting an enemy, or not freezes, but slows time when it's hitting an enemy, and erases bullets and turns it into gems. But you have to shoot them with it, so I don't know, it's a kind of neat power. Fortuner and Lovers both reference main characters in other games in the series. I wonder if I should start over and get more life advice, but I don't know. I'm saying things about the game now. You can't stop me. Yeah, this one you want to defeat the ones that have wireframiness to them. The other cubes both have more hit points and don't damage the boss health when they die. Or aren't the boss's health bar, or whatever. Let's see, I think Fool can jump and become invincible. It has a very fast bomb charge time, but a weak bomb attack. Fool is also special in that its price doesn't rise as you buy them. It always has the same cost. Most dolls increase in price each time. Well, Earl is a mass-produced one, and decreases in price as you buy more. Oh wait. Fool also has something with like using mana when it takes damage instead of dying right away. I don't know. It's a decent-ish doll for the price anyway. Oh man, jumping onto them. I really like shooting games, actually. Or at least I had a period where I really did. Oh, this is the final level, I think. No, it isn't. Next level is the final level. But what main character said just then made me think briefly that it was actually the final level. If you get seen by those spotlights, it like fires a million bullets at you. Rather, the boss does. Peiko's great for eliminating him, though. Yeah, Peiko is also one of the few basic dolls, like not unlockable, that can take out bosses without needing to bomb or run out of time. Yeah. And also, that's its spell. Oh! Yeah, the bouncing destroyable balls of light is kind of silly. I still have no reasons for why you can destroy those balls of light. Spark light. Alright. Justice has prevailed. Yes. Yes, it has. Right, I'm just watching myself now. That's kind of silly. Yes. So I guess I should summarize now that we're on the final level. I could have summarized the previous level because I had time, but I didn't think to. Yeah, take care of yourself, do what you like, and if something seems interesting, just do it. There's unlikely to be anything that stops you from learning any particular skill. Like, if you want to be an artist, you can draw. It's pretty amazing. You won't be good at it at first, but I mean, my first Let's Play was awful. I played through Racketeer because I wanted to show it off to anybody that didn't know about it, and that's a good motivation for playing any game, I feel, as a Let's Play anyway. Playing it in your room doesn't show it off to very many people. And I was not good at it. I didn't have a good feel for whether you should talk or not as things were going on. I probably improved by the end of the Let's Play because the game is ridiculously long if you include the post-game. But yes, do what you like. You'll eventually be good at it. I believe that to be considered like great at something, it takes 10 years. Generally. Or you can measure it in the hours actually spent, which I believe is 10,000 hours, and some portion of that should be focused practice, because if you just do a thing, you don't get better at it very fast. It takes actually thinking about the ways in which you're not good at it yet, and working on those specifically. Because, say you're learning art, I don't know, because that was my example earlier, and you just keep drawing the same sort of thing, like, you just draw, I don't know, chibis in one pose, and you keep drawing different characters. Maybe there are like 4 different poses you do and you're comfortable with, but you need to always be doing different things, trying different things. Not sure how many different things I've actually tried while Let's Playing, besides different games. Maybe that's why I feel like I haven't improved that much. Maybe I should try new editing tricks, try some of that like face in camera stuff. I don't know. Anyway, the last point, of course, that I haven't gotten to in the summary is be the person you want to be. People will like you. Not everyone, but enough people. And I guess I didn't say anything in particular about the people that don't care about you. Just like, it's kind of a reality that you're not going to care about everybody that crosses your path. They're not all going to care about you. Like, you can only form connections and remember things about so many people. And maybe if I do a 1000th video special, it will not be a train wreck of me running out of things to say. Yes. I guess if I say another thing about this game, I randomly remembered that there actually is a achievement, which I believe I have, for beating the game without using any bombs. And by bombs I mean kamikaze. Filling up the flow gauge and crashing into things. It's difficult, not because of killing the bosses, because you just pick like solo voyage lovers and then you have the firepower to kill all the bosses in time, but because there'll just be like an enemy that tries to crash into you when you have full flow and you fail to dodge it, and then the run is over. Yeah, on easy you don't even have to dodge as you're watching which one has the brain in it. It's kind of silly. Lovers is expensive. I wonder if this replay includes the extra boss, because if you there's a cap on how many dolls you can buy across the whole game, and if you hit that cap, then you will fight the extra boss even on easy. You also have to not continue, I'm pretty sure. Although if you continue, your doll cap resets anyway, so you're basically not gonna hit it. I think on normal and higher you always fight the extra boss. So yeah, this may have just been the game, or... Oh, it's doing this shop music. I believe that means that there's one more boss. Yep. So I've basically totally ignored the plot, plus we haven't seen all the little text that it gives you between levels about what's actually going on. But the plot is that it's a shooting game. No, there's a little more to it, but I don't feel like going into it. Yes. So this boss uses dolls against you because she's the shopkeeper. And you have to run her out of dolls before she moves on to her next phase. The doll count is right below the flow meter. And then there are some attacks which I don't believe it matters how much damage you deal to her. I think they depend on dodging them for a certain amount of time before it moves on to the next attack. And so you have to both not run out of time and not run out of dolls. Although you've probably noticed I'm getting time back for destroying like dolls, so you're not going to run out of time in this first phase of the fight. Unless you are using some like low attack power dolls, I guess, maybe. Time extend. Yeah. When she summons Leaf, you get like a lot of kills easily. I like fighting Leaf. Weak doll when you're using it. Also a cheap doll, until you've bought a ton of them. I don't know how many you have to buy before it catches up with like any other doll type. But they're very much disposable and things that you should explode on your enemies with. Oh yeah, also, I didn't point it out ever, but if you hold the attack button, you move slower. So a lot of the time, I'll tap the attack button to move fast. On most dolls, you can't tell the difference anyway, but on lovers, you actually have two different attacks, depending on whether you're in slow mode or fast mode. As with any shooter of this genre, slow mode is there to help you weave between tight patterns of bullets. Oh, I think one thing that I didn't mention is I think that doll that's sitting on the orb, Dimbula, can wrap around the left and right edge of the screen. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's been a while since I actually played this game. I think this run that we're watching in particular was from 2012. Like, January 2012 even. But I don't know. I wanted to talk about this game a long time ago, actually. But at the time, my computer could not run recording software and this game at a smooth frame rate at the same time. And I was also trying to play it and talk at the same time. Yeah. So, yeah, we're in the final phases. She's run out of dolls. Clover has kind of a bomb attack as her mana ability. Yeah, like it makes you invincible, deals massive damage. So if you spam Clover and like keep dying and using your skill, which of course costs a lot of dolls, that's another way to defeat bosses easily without actually being able to bomb them. Because bombing, you have to survive for a while and then you have to like crash right into them, so it's pretty hard. So on my first run through the game that I succeeded, since I didn't have access to levers and stuff yet, I definitely took advantage of Clover suiciding. Oh man, bullets coming up from the bottom. That's so overpowered. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm awful at this bullet pattern. As you can tell. I needed to stop firing the lasers so that I would have more speed and go to the right. Oh, by the way, the gems also restore your mana. So there I was lucky for a bit, and then it didn't work out afterward. Some of these lives last awful long, as you can tell. Ah! Yeah, Leaf does have the most damage on her bomb. Like, a lot of dolls have a 3-star rating for bomb, but hers is like a colored 3-star rating of extraness. So this attack pattern's silly. And then it turns into a different one. Oh yeah, and then like the rotating, yeah, you got it. Oh, you gotta not die. Navigate through the stuff. And... okay, for a second I thought I was about to bomb before it was ready. That would have been silly. Okay, that's the game. Thanks for watching. This was a train wreck. Bye! I mean, see ya. I even messed up my outro.